You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds!
Welcome back to the Nerds Podcast as we move along to the road of BBY1. That's going to be the next 3 episodes. And we move towards Rogue One. We break down Star Wars, Andor, Season 2, 7, 8, and 9. Massacres, new robot friends, and a breakup. We're going to cover it all. And if you're enjoying us and you're enjoying the channel, the best way to support is to give us a like, a subscribe, hit the bell so that you get the notification as we cover the latest and greatest in movies, shows, and games. Pete, I'm going to start you off with you and tell me what you thought of these next 3 episodes, this set of 7, 8, 9.
Well, they're starting to ramp it up because we all know that it's a prequel to Rogue One. They kind of are they kind of link everything together. So this is we know this is a prequel. This is Andor's story that leads into Rogue One, and they're ramping it up because this is the final season of Andor, and they're ramping it up. There's a lot more action, but again, like you described it before as it being more espionage than the Star Wars that we're used to. So we're still seeing a lot of that. There's some politics involved in it, and that's starting to get to that's starting to come to the finish line as well, to the climax of that aspect of the story. But yeah, very good, very good. All 3 were very good. The last 2, like you said, you hinted to what happened in the last episode, which is the cliffhanger. Like until next week, what all these shows kind of do. Yeah, again, we're almost to the finish line. 3 episodes a week is a lot, is taxing, but
yeah, I'm full. I'm full.
Exactly. It's like wow, okay, I can't watch anymore because it's just they did say they wanted to have like a movie feel to it every week, and that's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah, as you know, it's tough sometimes to watch Andor because it can seem repetitive on the same planets over and going back and forth and things of that nature. And it's not Star Wars that we're used to. I can tell you that this is nothing like I've ever watched in any of the animated shows and things of that nature. This gears more towards the books and the way they're written because the Death Star took 22 years to build. So while we're seeing this, they're just desperate now to finish it. Like, Emperor doesn't have that much patience left. You know what I'm saying? So you can understand the Empire just trying to have it committed to exactly to that goal of the Death Star. The fans may not know this, but you haven't seen Rogue One and you wanted to enjoy Andor for what it's worth to get to that epic ending. So this is all a different take for you. And as you stated before, this is your full first Star Wars series that you've watched, correct?
Second one.
Second, okay, because Mandalorian was your first, yes. And Mandalorian is what brought you to us, to the dark side.
No, this is the way.
But as we dive deeper into Andor, are you enjoying the storytelling behind this series?
I'll be honest with you. In the beginning, it was so complex for me, very sophisticated, because I don't know what's going on. And as I gradually, with the 3 episodes, getting to understand these characters, it's crazy because I know the main mission. Right. I know like the ending part of it. I know what the mission's about, but building these characters and this character development was a little difficult for me, especially in the political side of it. But as the show keeps going on and on and on, I'm starting to get more and more intrigued, and I'm starting to like it much more, for sure.
I'm happy for that. Yeah. And I'm hoping this kind of anybody that likes like the Mission Impossible type of stuff, maybe the Fast and Furious and how they get around and things of that nature.
Mission Impossible is official. I mean, from beginning to end, And thank you for that, for giving me an idea more or less of how I should watch this show. And then for all the Star Wars fans out there, you guys got to be jealous of me, because once Andor is done, then I'm going to watch Rogue One and it's going to feel great. I might even go into Star Wars after that.
Yeah, I'd love to take you on that journey, and I think the fans would like to see you take that journey as well. So shout out to all the Star Wars fans. But let's get into this episode 7 called Messenger. We get the start, of course, with the Ferric bells, which always kind of gives us a lapse in time. It's kind of recognizing where we first started when we were first at Ferrix, and now we're getting closer, of course, to the Rogue One beginning of that movie. But we're seeing the rebellions kind of take shape. We start off at Yavin, which again, it seems to be hosting the largest of the rebel cells. Very cool for me to see how they're clearing areas, knowing that their other cells are going to be joining them. It's not the Alliance yet, but it's definitely the rebel. Cassian is in a hut, right? And he's kind of in this away from the campus, and he has an injury to his shoulder that we don't get to see these things. Those are things that I feel like the show could show us. But again, it's just showing that he's battling over the last year, and he seems more official now, right? He's going into briefings and all. Pete, do you think Cassian has done enough and he needs to retire at this point? He's saying it enough times.
He's him saying it, him continuing to say it, and then continuing to go on missions. It's like one of those people who keeps talking because they're trying to throw out a threat to think that someone's gonna talk them out of it. But yeah, I mean, obviously he's kind of, from what I see, he's kind of made for this. Like, I don't think he could retire. You know, a lot of people get bored when they retire. I don't think, from the character that I've seen so far. And I've seen Rogue One and seeing this, he doesn't seem that he has that retired gene. And it's not, it doesn't line up for me as far as him retiring. He doesn't seem the type. So I would say no. I mean, of course, has he done enough? Yeah, I think he has, but I don't see it in him. Not enough to retire.
Yeah, I think what you just said now really reflects one of the last questions I'm going to ask at the end of this of our show today. Now that you said that, it comes full circle with Bix. Not that you said that. But let's go back to Ghorman. This time, there's no protesters in the square, right? We first started over in Ghorman with protesters, kids walking down the street. Now there's nothing on the street. Cyril, while walking, he's listening to the news and he sees the propaganda that's happening, the lies that they're spinning. Cyril, of course, approaches Dedra in the hallway. She gets distracted, and she distracts him with a kiss because he's asking some questions, and Dedra has a conversation with Cyril in the hallway, and she's lying about these outside agitators because it's the Empire that's the outside agitators. Code, do you think Cyril at this point, and we're not yet at the whole Ghorman's coming into the hall, but she's kissing him. She's telling him we're going to be heroes at the end. Do you think Cyril at this point is regretting what he's done, being that he's questioning Dedra?
No, well, not that he's regretting. I think he's trying to find out where does he fit in all this, right? He's getting, from what I understand, he was getting promotions, because there is a part after this scene when we'll get to that, when Dedra tells him,
she checks him,
you was okay with all the promotions and stuff, but the thing with him is he's trying to figure out where he fits in all of this. So what is cool is you see his journey when he goes to the people from that planet and try to see what they're about, and then pretend like he's going to work with them, and yet he has Dedra with him. He's with the Empire. He's still got his mom. So he's really just trying to figure out where where does he fit in all this, right? Dedra's very smart. Plenty of times I got caught out there when I would, tell my lady something, she'll give me a kiss, and I would completely forget everything. So I thought that was slick. I thought that was very slick of her to do that. And she did tell him, like, look, man, we're gonna be together. Let's just finish this mission and we're gonna go home. We're gonna be together and everything is gonna be fine. But he just can't let it go. So yeah, it's very interesting. I really like his story because for me personally, it's coming full circle from season 1 to now. And he's finally putting his big boy pants on.
Yeah, I think the confusion for him, Cole, and I agree with what you said, is like he came here to fight some rebel cells, right? And for Ghorman, like he thought he was going to be the operative in the field. He wanted to be the James Bond in the story, in my opinion. And he winds up realizing that they're not really hurting a rebel cell; they're just hurting the Ghormans. And I
Yep.
think that's where his confusion begins. I agree with you.
Yep. And they try to shut him up. They gave him a desk job. Hey, take care of this paperwork.
And Pete, Cole said something about the sense of not finding himself, right? And we consistently trying to get Wilmon to talk to Cassian about getting back into the heat of things. Luthen is trying to get him back into the heat of things, right? So, and you just said before about Cassian, and Rogue One. Do you think Cyril and Cassian are kind of running parallel at their story at this point?
I didn't get that. I didn't get that. Two different, two different character arcs for me. I did find it. It was one of those wow moments when they kind of like almost crossed paths.
Yeah,
that was cool to me. Like, oh shit, he's right there. Turn to your left. But no, I didn't get that they were running. They were going along parallel paths.
I love that you said that, because again, I thought they were, and the fact that they're also, and we'll get into it, one dead, one alive. They're definitely not running on the same paths. I could see where you're saying that. So Wilmon, who been following, who was kind of this shy kid, he's the kid that that was working his dad's shop, and the whole thing happened at Ferrix, and he's kind of finding his own right now. And if he's now asking Cassian at this point, when he gets back to Yavin, about doing more espionage work. And it's been a year since he's been running around with the rebels. And for the most part, it seems like Cassian right now is more into the rebellion in the sense and not the espionage stuff. But Woman asked Cassian, hey, for Ferrix, for Marva, let's go kill Dedra. And then we get back to Ghorman, and Dedra right now is talking to Partagas, who's her superior, and he explains everything. Prepare for the conflict. We tried. There's no other thing that needs to happen. Everything that we said that was going to go into plan, we're going to do it. Go with the plan. Cole, I know I asked you about Cyril. Now I'm going to ask you about Dedra. Do you think she's going to be backpedaling right now? Because she was all gung-ho about the Empire. And now she's kind of panicking, having to straighten herself up. What do you think is going on with Dedra at this point?
Well, with Dedra, I feel like she's really she's another one she has her own agendas as far as serving the Empire, at the same time not having so many casualties under her belt, not having these things happen under her belt. That's kind of like what I'm seeing from her. Going all the way back in the beginning, so Will was talking to Cass, and Cass was like, hey, Will, where were you? Where you been? I was laughing at that part. I thought that was funny, and he didn't want to let him know. The idea of taking her out made a lot of sense, because they tried to expose the Empire prior by blowing up in the last episode, and it didn't work. So now they're like, let's just cut the head off the snake. So with Dedra herself, she's she's in a big bind. And correct me if I'm wrong, but when she was getting sworn in, wasn't she like gripping and the podium and like
Mothma was not.
That was it was Mothma.
That was
okay.
Yeah. Confusing because they jump around so much, and I agree with you. But yeah, that was Mothma.
Okay, because
Dedra was shook. Dedra was kind of shook talking to her superior.
Yes,
but I think she's having doubts about this whole displacing a whole planet.
Well, then, it's too late now. You actually,
Without a doubt, yeah.
yeah, it's too late. You came up with this brilliant plan. Now it's going into fruition. Now they're realizing that, time is money, and we need to get this material from this planet, and we're gonna have to push this in order, and you're gonna be the one that's gonna have to do it. So, with Dedra, she has choices to make, and it's the thing is when I'm watching this, it's impressive how intimidating the Empire is, and how they can put a grip on you, shall I say, like the way Darth Vader does when he uses the Force to put a grip around your neck, and how she even got her neck tightened up by Cyril and stuff like that. So that's like I'm starting to see like a nice metaphor towards having a grip on stuff. But with Dedra, she is just trying to follow orders at the same time, be with her family. But I can't blame her, because not for nothing, the Gormans, the Gormans, they're peaceful people. So, anytime you try to take out any innocence, if you have any bit of humanity inside of you, it's going to bother you for sure.
Yeah, so that scene right there from Dedra goes to what you were talking about in the sense of Mon Mothma, another grip, right? In the sense, I'm glad that you even coincided that without knowing, you actually made it all sense, because they're both gripping onto something that they can't handle, in my opinion. But Mon Mothma has a meeting with the senator from Ghorman, and he said, "I'm here. I just want to thank you. I didn't feel sorry for him." Mon, when asked him for support and when they were in turmoil, and he didn't care. But Pete, do you feel bad for the senator of Ghorman at this point?
No, I mean, it's they got caught up in the middle of what, like you said, there's a purpose for the Empire being there because of, so they got, this is like the little guy getting, that's how I saw it. Like there's really not much we can do about that. But did I feel sorry for him? No, I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, again, you got to take the opportunities when they come
Yeah,
to
I
you.
just saw it more as like, it's the little guy. Like, oh look, people are getting bought out of their houses because they want to knock them down and put up, a golf course or something like that. Well, that's, the big guy taking advantage of the little guy. Something kind of similar to me. That was kind of similar to me. So, I mean, feel sorry for him. No, I guess I would have felt more sorry for him if he was like one of the main characters. Like, look, I think we kind of felt bad for Cyril when his mom was kind of stunning him and she was being annoying, and he's trying to, get back on track, and his mother's just being, I kind of felt bad for him when we showed him on the bed just laying down, because he was over it. Now I tend to feel sorry for characters who are more involved in the story, more the main characters than the side characters.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Yeah, and again, he had an opportunity to side with Mothma, and he didn't. So now you have to deal with that repercussion. But that takes us back to Ghorman and the revolutionaries. And at this point, they're fighting amongst themselves. They truly thought that they had all they had to do was expose the empire, and then things would get back to normal. Hence why they stole the guns to show that there's an armory there. But that didn't work, and their heist has now escalated the situation that they're not trained to do, not prepared to fight. And as Ko said, these are peaceful people, and Cassian called it. He said that they assessed the situation and they're not ready for this. Ko, without giving just too much, the revolutionaries, what should have done at this point?
Damn, that's a very good question. To be honest with you, I don't even have an answer for that. I don't know. I guess the best way to go about it might have been on a political way. Like they've done a peaceful protest, and they've and maybe speak to their senators and see if they can talk, get their way out, get themselves out of that situation. But then themselves, usually I would think that, okay, yeah, you know what, get some guns, give some practice shooting. Let's have somebody train us. But on the contrary, with them, even though we all know that it's inevitable what's going to happen, the Empire wants this planet regardless of what's going on. Even though they're being hoodwinked as well with the propaganda, there's really nothing they can do, unfortunately, for them. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think back of some of the movies that I've seen, like Magnificent Seven, where you have just seven people against an army, and they can figure out a way to rally the people around them to win, even though a bigger army is coming. This is the opposite of that. This is the opposite of everything that we see when the small hero wins. Yeah, this isn't the Alamo. This is real, like you said, super intimidating how the Empire does it.
You saw
Um,
those TIE fighters flying
Woo,
by.
yeah. Zoom, the way they were flying by was
Yeah.
fire too. It was fire.
You could
Um,
tell they were overmatched.
but you know what? When you're a revolutionary and you're thinking that this is your planet, that kind of goes out the window, and which is why Cassian didn't think that this was a plausible fight, because regardless of how they win, according to you, Coders, again, I agree with you. There's nothing they could have done. Nothing they could have done. They could have delayed it, but the Empire, the propaganda was just too much because people hate the Ghormans now too. Um, we get to a scene that is special for me, guys, and it's the scene where the Force healer is there, and Cassian has the shoulder. So, in Star Wars, for those that don't know, there are different abilities for different people depending on their level to control the Force. Some people can move things. Some people can choke. Some people can see the future. If you remember Anakin, the reason why he went to the dark side is because he thought the dark side can revive people. Hence, he could see the future that Padme was going to die. So there's different people, and this Force healer had that power to kind of see the future. And in the Star Wars games, he has a thing where he can actually do Force echo. So kind of like Daredevil does an echo, and you can see things. The Force, he does an echo, and he can see things behind the wall and things of that nature.
That's
Again,
cool.
just different things depending on the Force that you can use. In Clone Wars, they show witches using the Force, and it looks like witchcraft. And it's kind of crazy to think that. But when she was in Red, that's how those witches are. So I was hoping that she was part of this whole witch group. But we also saw Rey use healing power in Rise of the Skywalker. If you remember, she healed Kylo Ren to heal him. So we've seen these different types of forces. It was nice to see it. But she touches Cassian to heal him, and she said thank you. She straight up said thank you, and it's because she can use the Force to see the future and understood how important he was to the cause. Um, like I said, in seeing the future, Anakin did this for to see Padme's death, um, which of course, like I said, made him turn to the dark side. But Cassian does not like this stuff. Han Solo's the same way, Cole. And you mentioned Han Solo and Andor. They're very similar where they don't believe in this force thing.
Mm.
So just kind of give you an example, because again, as much as Pete was saying that, uh, that Cassian is kind of, I don't know what I want to do, and it seems like the Force is driving Cassian, and he doesn't like it, in my opinion. He wants to make his own choices. He wants to do what he wants to do, which is why I think he keeps saying that he's going to quit, and he can't, because either that or he's a masochist. But when she said, this is to Pete, because I know he's seen Rogue One. Did it hit you when she said there's some place he needs to be?
Well, I'm trying to like put together everything that you said about her using the Force to see the future. But I'll get back. But I want to get back to what you were saying. He doesn't like the fact that the Force is driving him. I don't. I agree with that. He doesn't seem the type like you said. Well, the fact that the fact that you said about Han Solo and Cole brought that up in the last Andor review about comparing the two. He asked you, are they
Yeah, yeah,
similar?
yeah, yeah.
But I'm not surprised that he doesn't I don't think he has time for the BS. He's just and him
Mhm.
always threatening to leave. I don't know if it's the force that's keeping him. I think it's more that there are people who love the adrenaline, who love the rush. He seems to me more like he loves to be involved in the thick of things. That's how I see it. I don't see the force
Mm.
that big a factor in his story. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm just telling you from what I'm watching on the show. Yeah, he just seems like he's always in the mix. He's savvy. He has a way to get out of things. But no, I don't. I kind of see him more as not really digging this force thing. He's marching to the beat of his own drummer.
And Pete, he seemed mad comfortable. It was him, Biggs. They were in the hut. They were chilling. It seemed like he was down to retire with her, right? And
Yeah.
just
She
and
drives
just
the she
run.
drives she factors in a lot of what I think he's going through and a lot of the decisions that he makes. But yeah, then dude showed up and his she took him to the healer. She believes in that. And you hear about couples who believe in this. They believe in these forces and stuff like that. Not Star Wars, but other forces. So
Soulmates.
I'm not surprised that, look, he was the guy who was dismissive of it. He was like, "What am I doing here? Like, I'm leaving." When
Yeah,
she's talking to the lady,
he
and
he he goes, you can stay if you want.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's usually how it goes with couples. And the woman may believe in astrology, and the guy's like, whatever, I don't care about this. You know what I mean?
It's like couples therapy. Like people
Exactly.
say, yeah, I see it as couples therapy. When you say that if a female says we need couples therapy, most guys are like that doesn't work. Like I don't
No.
believe in that stuff. If you feel like we need couples therapy, it's not working out.
You
But
know,
that,
and Cass doesn't know really his future, right? So how can you believe in something that you don't know is going to actually happen? We do because we know, well, except me, I haven't seen Rogue One, but but we do know that he plays a big part, and it's hard to just say, hey, I believe in this. Okay, yeah.
no, listen. While Yavin seems like a place of hope and force healing, and it looks good. Gorm is heading towards the other way, right? And when we think about these two planets are going in opposite directions. I did like in Yavin when Vel came to Bix and they were having a conversation. And Vel's telling her how far they've come in this Rebel Alliance. And I love the fact how Bix was like, when you need Cassian, he's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she put it down. Like you could doubt him all you want, but when you need him, he's gonna be there. And again, it looks like again having Cassian there as a leader as well makes sense because he's seen so much. Um, and then they jump to Ghorman, and then we see Will again. I love that you're calling him Will. I hate saying Willman. I love that you said Will. It makes my life a whole lot easier, by the way. But Will and Cassian are in agreement. They want to kill Dedra, and and I love the fact that they're gun ho about this chick because they know how much she's hurt Ferrix and everybody else.
And
But
to
at the
and,
hotel, go ahead, Cole.
before you get to that, and like what Pete was saying, so when he went to get on the ship, and the guy was like, "Look, man, you can't just take the ship," and he was like, "I'll tell you this: if once I'm gone, I'm gone." I'm sorry, I'm paraphrasing that scene,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
it goes back to what Pete is saying. He's like, he wants to quit, but doesn't, kind of, right? He's still got these missions, this adrenaline, and he wants to walk to the beat of his own drum.
Like I'll add to that. Like what kind of summed it up for me was when he was getting in the ship with Will, and the guy said, "Oh, you can't just do this." He said, "The day I have to check in, when I want to leave, that's when I'm gone."
Mhm.
That's he don't
Yeah.
he don't care. He's
Yeah.
just about what he has to do, the mission at hand. He's not worried about the Force telling him what to do. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, it's what's that in Transformers Sector 7? Like I'm Sector 7. You don't check me, I check you. um so okay, so Cole, I'm sorry. The conversation was great. The bellhop. I was at the bellhop.
Okay.
Recognizes Cassian, but treats him like he met him for the first time.
Yes.
And he seems to help Cassian, but did you think that Cassian was going to get arrested or snitched on?
Well, here's the thing, right? I'm trying to do my homework and research on this, and there is a phrase that the rebels use, right? And isn't it there's always hope with the rebels? Or I don't want to butcher it. Can you help me with that, Puba, if
So
you know what I'm
the,
saying?
the quote that you're looking for is that rebellions are built on hope.
There you go. So when he said that, right there and then, I knew, okay, he's gonna look out for him. So you notice it's him and the other lady that was working there. The other lady left. He said, "Don't worry about it. You know, I seen you before. It's okay. I'm a put you in this room." And yeah, there was a little doubt. Like I wasn't too 100% sure with him, but I did love that after the fact, when he was leaving and Cass goes, "Listen, I'm not going to check back in." He goes, "Don't worry, I didn't even log it in." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. That means, yeah, you know, because this is such a big mission. And what's cool about this is that you don't know who's really on your side, and that's what I like about it."
I thought it was a cool setup. And again, I think later on we see him. He had a grenade on him.
Yeah, he threw a grenade. Boom.
so he's all in. He's all in. This is gonna take us to episode 8, and this is for a lot of people might be a tough watch because it was point blank a massacre. This is one of the craziest things I have seen ever in Star Wars. I've never seen it in this nature. Like I've seen a planet blow up and didn't think of all the life that was on that planet. We've seen the Death Star blow a planet up, and it never really hit me. But seeing it this way, and you recognize how the Empire really took over, right? Entire planets, the threat, the fear, the stuff that the Sith want, because the more fear there is, the stronger the Sith are. But as a Star Wars fan, it was gratifying to see this Ghorman massacre because I've heard it in Rebels, I've heard it in books, I've heard it in comic books, I've never seen it live. So while this was a massacre, it was gratifying to see it and to see in the sense of what made Mon Mothma give up everything to support a planet that wasn't hers. And that storytelling got me. So just in general, because I think episode 8 was probably the biggest episode because of the episode, the massacre on Ghorman. I'm going to ask you guys kind of very similar questions. I'll start with Pete on this one. Walk me through the episode and what stood out to you.
Like you said, the main thing was the massacre. That to me was, I guess, the meat and potatoes of the episode. But then you have the citizens chanting. That they were just it seemed like it went on forever for like the whole episode. Them chanting, and they're protesting, and
Protesters.
Cole doesn't. I don't know. Cole doesn't know that reference.
Nope, you gotta put me on later.
Okay, well, listen, that's what we do on this show. I'm a quick story. So, when me and Pete played football together on Randall's Island, and our team, as you know, a bulk of our team was made up from the martial arts of me, Luis Melendez, my brother, Jumbo. They were all on the team. So, but they knew us because half the team was made up of guys that do martial arts. And a game happened where they won because they cheated. They had some extra players. The next time we played them, they stood on the field and someone was yelling protesters, and they would stand in the horse stands and punch. The whole team was doing this. Protesters, protesters.
Well, we won the game that they had somebody who wasn't on their roster. We won that game by protest because they just showed up with some new guy. So that's why he's doing that. That's when they do the protesters, because they found out that they lost that game because we protested, because they had some random new guys on the team, and but that's what him doing that protesters is what they did to us from their sideline.
Well, maybe the Gorgmans say should have done that. Then they might have been able to get away with it.
So
Hilarious.
Go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead, P. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
the chant, they were chanting. It seemed like there was going on the whole episode, and it seems like Cyril was finding out a lot of what he probably shouldn't have found out the way he did. And then they're trying to like him and Will went there to assassinate Dedra, and they couldn't. But then again the massacre broke out, and that took over. That pretty much dominated the rest of the episode for me.
Cole, from the episode, what surprised you the most during this episode?
Man, that's honestly, it's hard to say because that episode by far is one of my favorite episodes from beginning to end. We're talking about when Cyril was talking to Dedra, when Cyril saw Cass and went after him, and they started fighting. If I'm not mistaken, I think Cass was trying to he was ready to set up in the hotel room to assassinate Dedra, but then next thing you know, you have then the stormtroopers came and the Imperials came, and things got a little more rowdy, and they started making this barricade, and then the protest, like Pete said, then you have the sniper. If anything, the sniper surprised me the most because I wasn't sure who he was going for. It was similar to Bullseye when we were talking about Daredevil. Who was he going to shoot? And it threw me off a little bit that he shot one of his own, but then it made sense later because that's how you start the riot, right? That's how you show, because then the chief saw that one of his men was down, and then he goes, open fire. Now, it was brutal because usually you see a fight within, two groups where they're shooting back and forth. But these were civilians with no weapons or anything like that. And they were just going ham. That's hard as a mother towards these things. And that's because they had to push this. The Empire wanted this to be pushed forward.
It
Also,
was brutal, yeah.
also that scene with Dedra and Cyril before, because he goes outside. I was like, what are you doing? You're gonna get shot. And then she was concerned. She was worried about him. She was like, oh my gosh, where is he? Make sure he doesn't leave the building. I was like, oh, the cutscene already showed him outside. You missed out on that. And I was like, oh, he's gonna die. But I did like his death because prior to that, the leader, I don't know if he's the leader, but the leader of the revolutionaries from that planet, they had a one-on-one conversation, and he's like, oh, you can't preach what we're preaching, what we talking about now, because I know you're setting us up. And then it was actually Sweet Revenge, and he was the one that got him. I mean, to be honest with you, from top to bottom, the whole entire episode was great. I loved it.
Yeah, Cole, we actually spoke about that yesterday. So Rylands, who's the head of the kind of Ghorman's on Ghorman, they had a kerfuffle in a sense, talking to each other, and I love how you said, how do you speak the words? And knowing that Cyril betrayed him, but Cole, I know you enjoyed the banter, but tell me why you enjoyed that scene so much.
Oh, it was because if you think about it, Cyril, let's which honestly, he's gone. He needed to be a boy to grow up and stuff like that. But not for nothing, I like the character. I like the way he portrayed in season 1 and here from beginning to end, where I like following his whole story. I don't think it's fair that, look, man, you just disrespected me, and then now you want to come and chant and be with my peoples. And especially I'm allowed, like, that guy was allowed to say that. The way Cyril handled it, you can tell that it was not fair, and Cyril got what he deserved.
Yeah, so after that scene, because that's where Rylands tells him, you guys are mining. So going back to what P had said, Cyril's kind of lost in the sauce. Like he's finding about the truth through these rebels, and he's tight. I mean, he goes straight back to find Dedra, right? And he's enraged, like out of pocket, nothing that we've seen Cyril do before. Pete, were you shocked to see Cyril lose it on Dedra?
No, I kind of well, the way he did, yeah. When he was choking her, I was just like, oh, I thought she was gonna die. I thought he was gonna finish her right there.
You're hurting
I thought he
me.
wasn't gonna let go. And it's a relationship thing.
Mhm.
If your significant other is involved in something, you should hear it from them, not hear it from somebody else. And I think that's what especially what they were doing, the magnitude of what they were doing there, and he's finding it out from somebody else and not his lady. That to me was what kind of set him off. You saw the way he threw that old man to the floor. Yeah, I was just like, okay, he something clicked.
Yeah, he
Something clicked
snapped.
with this cat. I was like, all right. And then when he was choking her, I said, oh, yeah, I think she's done. But he let go. He
I
let
thought
go.
that was her death.
Yeah,
I
I thought
thought
she was
that that
done.
was going to be her death as
Yeah.
well.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. This is how it's gonna be. Okay.
Yeah, she was like, "Yo, you're hurting me."
Yeah, that's and I said, yeah, I see. Yeah, he is.
See,
I think
people, don't
she was just
push.
as shocked as we were. I think she was
Yeah,
just as
absolutely,
shocked as we
absolutely.
were to see that, and it didn't
And
make any
that's what
sense.
she gets. That's what she gets, like Pete said. For she should have been up front, and then maybe it would have been handled more differently.
And to be clear, on this channel, we don't promote violence on women.
No
This
domestic
is strictly for
violence
the show. I want to make sure that people know that we don't promote that stuff,
at
but
all, at all.
it
Not,
at all.
excuse me, not just women. No domestic violence.
Yes,
Period.
yeah. So let's go to Captain Tito. I think his name was Tito or Tito, um, and he seems to be the gun. Like Dedra's the trigger. I think there was a comment that was made that she's the trigger and he's the muscle in a sense. I forget the quote itself,
He said
but I
she's the finger. I found that weird.
Yeah,
yeah,
But
no,
I
me
got it.
too.
Yeah, I get what you're
for the
saying.
trigger.
Yeah. I was like, what? Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. You know, let me bring it back to Transformers. If Megatron's the gun, who's pulling the trigger? Usually Starscream or someone else.
Soundwave.
Soundwave.
Yeah. So in other words, like that guy in black was Megatron, and the trigger finger was Dedra. So, but yeah, but I did like that he said, "All I want is a comfortable ride home." That's all he wanted. Like he didn't care about what was going on. Whatever it takes, all I want is a comfortable ride home. I just enjoyed that as well.
Typical.
I could see me at a party and my wife asking me, "What do you want?" I go, "All I want is a comfortable ride home. Like I don't want to even be here anymore." But there's a scene I really enjoyed, of course, and Co said it where they say the rebellions are built on hope. Fantastic. That was Cassian said it in Rogue One, Co. So you'll see that in Rogue One, and you'll
Awesome.
also see it a second time in Rogue One because you'll get to meet Jen Orso, who also says it as well. But we continue with the hearing of the chant. We are the Gore. The galaxy is watching. I love that chant. That also broke my heart because the galaxy really didn't care because the propaganda has already been said and people didn't like the Gormans and they didn't even know it. They get these additional troop of rookies, and you could tell their breath still smells like Similac. These guys are pretty much cannon fodder, in my opinion. These are bad guys, and they're only bad guys because they're doing their job. You know what I'm saying? That we could complain about it, but these guys are just doing their job. And the dominoes start falling, and we get to this massacre, and it is a crazy, crazy scene. I'll start off with we got into most of it, and there were people holding a gun, just cringing. They because this is not them, as Ko was saying. These are peaceful people, and they're just being massacred at all. But the droid comes out, and Enza, which I think is Ryland's daughter. He grabs her and tosses her like a bag of garbage. Pete, you're familiar with this droid. What did you think about the droids? And them flinging things around.
Well, they brought the muscle out. You know, it was just like, okay, we got we got to bring out the big guns now, and that to me, that's what it was. I was like, okay, they look and they look a little heavy, a little, they're not too fast. But
Like
then
Iron
he started
Giant.
running, and I said, okay, well, maybe he
Yeah.
can. And the only way, and I don't know why they started shooting at it, and nothing was happening, but they kept on. I was like, just save save the charge in your weapons or whatever. Then that truck came and took him out. That was the only way it was going to take him out because the lasers weren't doing shit to him. So I was just like, just stop, stop shooting at him. It's doing nothing.
But isn't that
Scratching the
what
paint.
Tommy was doing in The Last of Us? Like he was throwing his torch. It seemed like it wasn't doing much because the Juggernaut, which we call it, the Juggernaut was coming forward, and Tommy was still shooting. Like he didn't. That's all he had left. That's all he had.
No,
So,
I got a better one than that. When
go.
when Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, when he comes out and they said, oh look, there's a plane that's leaving for the rocket in Avengers, and he shoots down the plane with a rocket launcher, but then he pulls out his little 45 against a whole plane. You're not doing nothing with that.
Well, we get the robots, then we get Cyril. Cyril sees Cassian, and we get what I thought was a great fight. Cole, walk me through it. What you think of that battle, Cassian Andor?
Whoa, oh my gosh. So Cass had the shot. He finally got an opportunity to get her in the scopes, and he was gonna finally get Dedra. And here comes Cyril. And Cyril just knocks him down, and they go at it. And then now Cass is dead to rights. Andor, I'm talking about, he is dead to rights, and it was a good fight, And remember, they're fighting, and then there's still a massacre going on. So there's like explosions next to them and throwing them off and stuff like that. That was a good action scene. I really liked the action scene. And like I said earlier before, I like the ending. I like the way Cyril went out because of how he came around full circle. But Cyril had him. He had him dead to rights.
Who are you?
Yo, that I was gonna get.
That's
I
what
was gonna
saved
get
them.
into that. I was gonna ask Cole that as well as a
That's what
follow up
saved them. That's what saved Cass.
because it was shocker for him because Cyril spent the majority of his adult life looking for Cassian. That was it. You know how we talked about what's this guy the perv on Family Guy Star Wars.
Herbert the pervert.
Herbert the pervert.
Oh
when
my
Herbert
gosh.
the pervert sees Luke Skywalker, he gets brick, right? So you would think that this guy has a hard on for Cassian, and for Cassian to tell him, "Who are you?" Yo, his heart broke.
That's
broke. He put the gun down.
That Scarlet Witch. You took everything from me. I don't even know who you are.
Yes. Exactly the same thing.
That's perfect.
I felt bad. That was the perfect one. Yeah, that was a perfect analogy. But man, I felt bad for Cyril at that moment. He was like, damn.
Yeah, my life sucks. My life means nothing.
It really does.
But Andor looking at him like, who are you? Like, there's this stranger kicking my ass and now he's gonna kill me. Who are you, man?
Why are you fighting me? Because I don't think Cassian ever saw Cyril's face.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Because even in Ferrex, he had the gun behind him. Remember, he pointed the gun in the back of his head.
Yeah, he would. I mean, if he would have saw his face, he would have realized, okay, this is.
Oh, I know who you are. Yeah.
He would have definitely saw him. But yeah, it was that. I would have asked it a lot sooner. Who the hell are you, man? Like, wait, man, we don't gotta fight. What's your beef with me, man?
Well, the timing was perfect.
Yeah. And then he got me.
The episode ends. Cassian is at tears. They load up a robot, and then the heart sinks because you hear it on the radio. We're getting massacred. Help us. That was pretty eerie.
And Cyril's mom.
Yeah.
Right? She started to see the news. For his mom? I did. I definitely did because any parent to lose their child, regardless of what happens, is horrific. So even though she was strict with him and tough and everything, and yes, that touched me a little bit. I was like, damn, it sucks, but blame it on the Empire, yo.
They won't. They won't. I mean, that's what takes us to episode 9. Welcome to the Rebellion. And the episode is pretty amazing to me because of the fact that it tied in so much of the animated series, Rebels, the speech that Mothma gives. It's, for me, it's like watching animation come to life when it comes to that speech, when it comes to everything that's happening. And
That's
it's
cool.
it's heartwarming for me, right, as a Star Wars fan, because it's really the point where you hope that people in our government try to do the right thing all the time and speak against the wrongs of the world. So it again, real life portrayed in this art of acting. But the episode is about telling the truth about the Empire. Cole, you're right. And Mothma knows that the people need to hear the truth about the massacre. Because right now we start off what Pete was saying, in the sense of I don't feel bad for this senator, but at the tail end of it, we have the Force driving everything, and Cassian is driving himself. I already spoke to P about this. I love the fact that he doesn't think that of the nature. And then we jump to Erskine, who is Mon Mothma's assistant. He's looking for listening devices, doesn't trust. Trust is gone at this point. And he tells Mothma to go practice somewhere else. Luthen shows up, tells her that Bail Organa team is compromised. Were you shocked that Mothma's assistant was working for Luthen?
No. Again, the way this show is, as I get to know these characters now, this is the fun part for me, where who's on whose side, right? So I get to play with that. When she found the bug, I found it interesting that she destroyed it. I would think that if you do that, you're kind of giving up. You're giving yourself up, saying, "Okay, I found this." But hey, she ended up destroying it, and I think they put a cut scene where you see the ISB, the right
ISB.
the ISB. They noticed that, hey, one of the bugs are not gone, so now the assistant's like, you're gonna have to go over here and stuff like that. And with this episode, this was a lot of fun because now who's with who. So with the assistant, I was happy to know that he wait, did he have her back? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, no. The assistant, he actually
the assistant had her back, right?
He tells her that he has saved you more times than you actually know.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
okay. Right.
He was down. He was, yeah. At the end of it, you saw that even though she wasn't thrilled with it, he was down. He was down.
That's right, because they were together, and yeah, that's like, okay.
She said immediately, get out.
Yeah, because she's confused and she's under fire right now.
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
about to make a big speech and everything.
She's stressed. Yeah, she's like, get out of here, man.
So that was prior to her linking up with Luthen. Okay, so that's prior. Now she's hearing from Luthen. And so now she's like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Like this, I knew this was big, and I thought it was going to be for just the planet, but this is bigger than just the planet.
And this is the galaxy. Yeah.
Right. Now it's like, well, what did I get myself into? And then how important her speech has to be. Because I think she did say that they wanted for it to be broadcast throughout the entire galaxy. So with that right there, I really like that scene, because with Luthen, he's the puppet master, and he's over here like pulling the strings, being where he needs to be and stuff like that. And for me, he's lucky that things are working in his favor. And I could imagine the stress that he's going through to make everything work. Because I look at that character and I say, man, one person denies what you want to do, whether it's Andor, Bix, or whoever he's in contact with, the whole plan is shot. So yeah, I thought that was really cool that this is the fun part where who's with who.
Yeah, no, it's funny because we're at Coruscant. We're in the senator's office for most of the episode, and then we get it. We get the speech, and it's
Which was
kind
a
of
good
dope.
one.
The
It was a
way
really
Senator
good one.
Organa gives the floor to Mothma because it's his turn. She doesn't have a thing, but he revokes a code that says, "Yep, she gets the floor." Pete, what did you think of the speech?
Well, like we just spoke about, she's stressed. There's a lot going on, a lot on her shoulders, and this was the rallying cry. It took a lot of guts to do what she did, and especially after talking with Organa, like he has the escape plan for her, and she's like, "Yo, do you trust him? Is this legit?" And he's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it." So much on her mind, but yeah, her giving that speech was, it was the rallying cry, but the way I saw it. But yeah, what came after that was just the last two episodes were just madness. It was just, chaos, anarchy, everything.
No, so the Empire tries to lock up the building. You can tell that the Palpatine, the Emperor, is using the stormtroopers as a policing versus cops that they do have in Star Wars. But he's using stormtroopers to actually police the senators, which is crazy to think that. Cassian comes to pick her up. Mothma asks Cassian at the end of after the whole episode of them trying to get out. She asked him, "How can I pay you back?" And he straight up says, just make it worth it. Right? The sacrifices, everything that we've seen. Ferrex is gone. Ghorman is gone. Their friend Russo is gone.
I'm sorry, very similar to what something Big said. She says, if I'm giving up all this, I want to win. That was very similar to that. Like that, kind of very, kind of like took me back to what she said. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's exactly why I
I
said it
wanted to
because
say
that,
that, yeah, but like that when she said that, I was like, damn, she's fucking right, man. Like,
yeah.
you don't want to give everything and you lose, man. Like you want to win and you're
Yeah.
putting it all on the line. So sorry, man. I just
No,
said
but it makes you realize how much goes into Star Wars that it's more than just lightsabers and force using and things of that nature.
but that's
Yeah.
what we're
For people to
used
give up everything and lose sucks.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of moving pieces. A lot of moving pieces in this.
So, Cole, you didn't get your wedding. You didn't get Bix marrying Cassian. I know you were rooting for that. Cassian is left behind by Bix. She leaves him a Dear John letter in a sense.
Yeah.
That and I think she does it because if she stays, Cassian can't follow through in his destiny, and a lot has to do, I think, with that force healer and what she said. Cole, what do you think about her leaving him?
Okay, so I just want to backtrack real
Let's
quick,
go.
and I want to add to the speech. I thought the speech was dope because she name dropped. She said
Palpatine, yeah.
yes, and
Yeah.
then cut it off. I was laughing at that. I was like, I hope the message got out there, but she name dropped. And then the way she already got the heads up that her team, her driver was compromised, and just Cass taking her out of there to safety. That whole episode, that whole scene.
He said, "I got her. I found her." And he blasted him,
Yeah. And then the driver, what's the driver's name? Hey, Billy. It's not Billy, I know, guys, but you know what I mean. and he got
Poor
her to
Billy.
safety. So then that means that Andor's mission is complete. His wish is there. That's it. I'm done. As a matter of fact, I gave you guys a gift. There's a robot. There's a droid. I think we picked up all the pieces. If you want him, I'm gonna go with Bix and just chill, and that's it. Hang up my cape, shall I say? So he has a good night's sleep, and next thing you know, he gets the notification from her. I like that she said, I couldn't tell you face to face because you would have convinced me otherwise. I had to do what I have to do. Just like Pete said, she wants to win. It's because of that time that she took Cass to the healers and stuff like that, that she started to really, really realize, look, man, in order for the galaxy and the rebellion to move forward, I can't be with this man. It reminds me of a quote: if you love something, you let it go. If it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't, it never was. So for me, she's seeing the bigger picture, and I commend her because she was so brave to do that. And it was hard. It was heartbreaking for me because I kind of wanted them to be together, for
I
sure.
was rooting for you, Cole. I was hoping that you
Yeah.
get the invite. I was hoping that you get the
Well,
invite.
there's still 3 more episodes. You never know.
Oh, that'd be great.
No.
But if you know Rogue One, you know what's gonna happen. Anyway, so we end this with a new companion, K2SO Cole, which I think you're gonna love him. Pete, can you tell us who voices K2SO?
Well, the best thing I don't want to give out because he does so many voices. So I'll say this: Transformers, Dark of the Moon. His name was Dutch. He was in the bar with the Russians and he lost it with the guns, and he was like, "Oh, that's the old me." That's the voice of the android, and he does Clayface in Harley Quinn. He does Dr. Phosphorus in Creature Commandos. He does voices all over the place. So he's very I don't know if you guys know who Hank Azaria is. Do you know who that is?
I
No.
don't.
Hank Azaria does like 40 voices on The Simpsons. So he's to me, he's kind of like the new guy because he's everywhere and he does voices, he does voiceovers all over the place, but he also does live action roles as he was in Dark of the Moon. He was John Turturro's assistant. The guy from Sector 7, remember he got rich off his book? His driver. That's him. That's Alan Tudyk.
Hey, Pete, you telling me he does the Clayface voice in Harley Quinn? Oh, I
And
love that.
Joker.
Oh,
Yeah.
Joker, great. But I love Clayface in Harley
Yeah.
Quinn. Oh,
Yes.
one of
So
my favorite characters.
K2SO, who steals the show in Rogue One as well, in my opinion, if you listen to him. But
Really. So
he's gonna be fun to watch in these last 3
it's
episodes.
a KD droid, right? It,
Uh, K2SO is how I know
but that's
him.
who he becomes,
He
right?
becomes K2SO, but I think he's a K droid. I don't know.
I think it's
in
a
essence,
KD droid or KX droid, something like that.
he's gonna be fun to watch. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on this conversation. 3 more episodes down, 3 more episodes to go. Thank you so much for joining us. Like, subscribe for the nerds, Co and Pete. May the force be with you.
Revenge of the Sith.
We will return.
The worst episode ever.